TDS or tax deducted at source is a tedious issue for most resident Indians as well as for the NRI community. In this episode on NRI Money Clinic, we are going to talk all aspect of tax deducted at source and how you have to treat it and every aspect that you need to know from a taxation perspective. This is Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, investment consultant and a financial planner for NRI Money Clinic.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Dear viewers, to talk on the subject of TDS, tax deducted at source, I have brought to the studio our eminent faculty, Chartered Accountant Sriram Rao. Sriram Rao, Chartered Accountant, is a familiar face on NRI Money Clinic. He is an expert on international taxation. He has solved many cases of high net worth individuals in the appellate tribunal. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sriram.
Thank you.
Mr. Sriram, every person on a day-to-day basis, he is facing this issue of tax deducted at source, TDS. It's just not the TDS, there are two other terminologies we come across. One is tax collected at source. Sometimes we hear the words withholding tax.
Correct.
What is this TDS or TCS or withholding tax? Can you briefly explain it for the sake of our viewers?
The TDS is a tax on income. Okay, this is nothing but an income tax.
Okay.
However, what happens here is the tax is deducted at source when a payer of an income is paying to another person. For example, I am a bank. Okay, you have deposited money with me. I am supposed to give you interest on that.
Okay.
Now this interest is your income.
Okay.
You are supposed to declare it to the income tax and pay the tax on that.
Okay.
Now, as a banker, I am liable to deduct certain portion of it as a tax deducted at source, TDS, and remit to the government. And I will remit on your behalf.
Okay.
Okay. So this concept is called as a tax deducted at source. When I am giving the income in the source itself, I am deducting a portion of it and remitting it to the tax.
Okay. The income tax belongs to me.
Correct.
I am liable to pay the tax.
Correct.
But you are the payer of this income to me.
Correct.
So you are duty bound to deduct this at source itself.
Yes.
As per the some tax laws which are
Yes.
prevailing.
Yes,
That
yes.
is the tax deducted at source.
Yes. This is a normal phenomena under income tax.
Okay.
Okay. It's
Right.
a income tax under the Income Tax Act itself. There is a separate chapter in which they have given various sections wherein people are supposed to deduct TDS whenever they are paying a certain income to a other person.
Okay.
Okay. This is applicable when a payment is made to the resident as well as to the non-resident.
Okay. Now, what is this terminology of TCS, tax collected at source? Of course, TDS is very familiar name.
Correct.
Not many people are aware about TCS, but that is also being used.
Correct. Now TCS is just a reversal of it.
Okay.
When a purchase or sale transaction happens, say for example, I am purchasing a car.
Okay.
Okay. I am purchasing a car. At that time, I am supposed to make the payment to you because you are selling the car to me. Okay. So at that time, you are supposed to collect additional some percentage as tax collected at source. Okay, and remit back to the government on my behalf. It will be considered as my income tax.
Okay.
See, this second concept has come into force because I am purchasing a car, so I should have that much of income with me. Okay, only then I can purchase the car.
Okay.
Okay, or there should be some stream of income which might come to me in future, with which I am going to repay the loan which I have taken to purchase this car from you.
Okay.
So from this angle, you are supposed to collect the TCS. I mean, of course, there are certain other provisions which will say on which and all transaction this TCS will be applicable. But I just gave an example.
So if I understood you correctly, a TCS is you are buying an asset.
Correct.
And it's a valued asset. I presume maybe there could be a threshold level beyond which this has to be done.
Yes, of course.
As a proof that I have enough income to pay for the tax, the seller collects the tax while selling it to somebody else. Is that correct?
Correct. The seller has to collect the tax, additional amount.
Okay.
Say for example, you are purchasing a car worth rupees 50 lakhs.
Okay.
Okay, I am selling it to you.
Okay.
So, under the income tax law, presently there is 1% TCS on it.
Okay.
So, when I am selling it to you, I am supposed to collect 50 lakhs. That is my consideration.
Yeah.
Over and above that, 1% I need to collect.
Okay.
Okay, which is 50,000.
So your sale consideration of 50 lakhs is yours.
Yes.
Over and above that, 1% is the tax collected at source.
Correct. I will be collecting from
It
you
is
50
not
lakh.
an income. It is
No.
it is just an extra levy.
Yes. I am collecting 50 lakh 50,000.
Yeah.
Okay, 50 lakh is my income. Okay, and I have already collected 50,000 from you. That I am going to deposit to the government on your behalf, saying that it is you who has purchased a car from me, and your income tax on that is 50,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the seller is collecting it and remitting it to the government.
Correct.
Right. What is this third terminology, withholding tax?
Withholding tax is a terminology which is internationally used.
Okay.
Okay, this is nothing but TDS and TCS. We can use, I mean, people use this withholding tax as a change of nomenclature. That's it. So either instead of using TDS or TCS, withholding tax terminology is also used. There is nothing additionally withholding tax, any other tax which is known as withholding tax in India.
Okay. So if I understood you correctly, TDS is something which gets deducted when an income is being paid out.
Correct.
And the person who pays this income to the receiver deducts the tax.
Correct.
TCS concept is with respect to sale of large assets.
It may be asset, it may be other transactions also.
Or any
Yes,
transaction.
Any transaction. It's a buying and selling transaction.
So buying and selling transaction, it need not be an income itself.
No, it is not an income. Most of the times it is not an income at all.
Okay, fine. The third thing is withholding tax is mostly with respect to international transactions. So these are interchangeable words kind of.
Yes. No, normally in India we call it as TDS only.
Okay.
Okay, or TCS in some circumstances. But abroad, I mean other countries, there is no concept of TDS or TCS. What they say is it is a withholding tax. So it is the change of word. Outside India, normally in say UK, US, etc., they are using the word withholding tax instead of TDS or TCS.
Okay.
It is the same.
Right.
There is no difference.
Why should somebody do this TDS, TCS, WST? Is it not very simple for, I have an income, I file my tax returns. Why should somebody deduct and pay? Instead of that, can I not pay it myself? Is it not easier thing to do? Why should we make it so tedious?
No, it is it's a concept which has been brought by the government. I mean, it is there worldwide in all the governments wherever they are having the federal taxes, income tax. They are having this concept of withholding tax or TDS or TCS. This concept is mainly come into force because of two issues. One, to identify the income of another person.
Okay.
Okay. So now when I am paying an interest to you, say I am a banker, I am paying interest to you. I don't know out of that interest income what you have earned, what is your tax liability.
Okay.
You might be under 5% tax bracket or 0% tax bracket, or you might be under 30% tax bracket. But as a payer, I am supposed to deduct only 10%.
Okay.
Okay, under Indian income tax. I mean, if I am paying you as an interest as an NRI, if you are an NRI and I am paying you interest to an NRI, then the tax percentage may change. But under income tax act, if I am paying to a resident, 10% is a TDS.
Okay.
So I am identifying, saying that I have paid this much of income to you, and this is your income. You are supposed to pay the tax to the government on that particular income and this to this particular year.
Okay.
Okay.
So does it mean to say that this is a preventive taxation?
It is only a preventive tax, sir.
That means in advance, whether
Yes.
the receiver of this income pays tax or not.
Yes.
Compliance
To identify.
issues.
Yes.
So I'll withhold this and pay.
Yes.
And this is a preventive taxation
Yes,
method.
that is one concept. Say to identify that you are having certain income.
Okay.
Okay. Another concept is, I mean, the second line of argument is, now the government normally asks a person to pay the tax on a particular income what he has earned in that particular year itself. Okay. However, that person, say for example, if it is an interest income, passive income we say, So these kind of incomes, you never know how much you are going to receive. Or say dividend income you are going to receive. The company has to declare dividend. Unless the company declares a dividend, you will not know how much the income you are going to earn. Right? So that income, only at the end of the year you will come to know what is your total income for the year. So you will be able to compute your income and pay the taxes by the end of the year itself. Now during the year you have earned income. Government will have losses if they start collecting taxes only in the next year on the income earned to you this year.
So in a kind of a preventive advance tax mechanism.
Exactly. Right. So instead of paying an advance tax, if the TDS is deducted, automatically government is getting the portion of a tax. It may not be full.
Right.
On your
so
own.
One is prevention of tax.
Yes.
One, to get the tax as and when it gets paid.
Yes.
And the taxpayer may file it on time or maybe delayed.
Correct.
To prevent that interest loss that happens to the government. So it is deducted at source.
Yes.
One another concept which is there in the minds of people, or widespread impression, is that TDS is the tax. Oh, government has done the TDS, that is the tax they have collected from me.
Correct.
Is TDS the real tax, or is there more to it?
It is a income tax.
Okay.
Okay. It is nothing but.
I will rephrase this question.
Yeah.
When I say is TDS the tax, I am a taxpayer and you are a bank. You deducted TDS.
Okay.
My assumption is that the TDS what you have done is the tax that I have to pay. My question is that the tax I have to pay, or if I am liable to pay more tax, should I still pay more tax? Or if I am not liable to pay any tax, is there a recourse for me to collect the tax back?
Yes. So I will come to that. Now the thing is, what is your tax liability? That depends on your income.
Okay.
Your income for this year it may be different, next year it may be different. You might have 4 or 5 streams of income. On some stream of income there might be a tax liability, there might be a TDS deducted, some stream of income TDS is not deducted. Okay, but your income, you know it. So now after calculating your income, your tax liability has to be determined based on at what slab of this one income comes under which slab of yours. Say for example, if your income is less than 5 lakhs, anyway you will not end up paying any taxes in India. Okay, there will be a 12,500 rebate, etc. So with that there will not be any tax liability on you. So in those circumstances, if any TDS is already deducted on you, you can file the return of income in India and then claim it back. Okay. However, if your income say 30 lakhs, you are already in 30% slab rate. So I have, as a banker, I have deducted only 10% TDS.
Okay.
So additionally, whatever tax liability is there, which is 20%, you are supposed to pay back out of your other sources, what you have already received.
Okay. So is it safe to say, for the benefit of our viewers, if a TDS has happened, that is one portion of the story.
Correct.
At the end of the year, when you compute your income, if you have to pay more taxes than that as per your assessment, other than what TDS you have paid, you have to pay extra to the government.
Correct. Exactly.
Or if you are a person who is not in a tax slab, but the TDS has been done by the payer of that income, you have a recourse to claim back that amount. It's just a preventive taxation. Yes. Nobody has to take this as the final tax that they have to pay. Exactly. Is that assumption correct?
Absolutely. That is a perfect assumption what you made.
Okay. Now we talked about TCS, TDS and this withholding tax concept. Now as a taxpayer, I have nothing to do in this.
Correct.
Who has to do the TDS and TCS and WST? Whose responsibility is this?
Now normally, as per Indian regulations, any person who is having business income, they will come under the bracket of deduction of TDS, etc. Normally. Okay. And especially when that income is paid to a resident, then there are certain sections and articles which say that this is the rate of TDS, this is what they have to do, etc. Okay. So the person will be liable to deduct TDS only if he has a business income. Say for example, I am a banker. I am actually, as a bank, I am doing a business with you.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever my income as a banker, that is my business income. So under that circumstance, I am liable to deduct TDS. Okay. Now, for example, I am not a banker. Say for example, I I have a fixed salary income. Okay, you are a good friend of mine. I have taken some amount as a loan from you and I am paying some interest to you.
Okay.
Okay, at that point of time, since I am not having any business income, I am not liable to deduct TDS on you.
Okay.
Okay. However, if you are an NRI, okay, if you are an NRI, then as a salaried person, I have taken a loan and to an NRI I am paying a interest. That time I am liable to deduct TDS.
Okay, I am an NRI.
Correct.
I am an NRI.
Correct. You are
and I give a loan to a friend of mine who lives in India.
Correct. So
for a consideration, interest
correct.
consideration. But when my friend pays me the interest,
correct,
he has an obligation to do the TDS and pay to the government.
Correct.
So this TDS TCS issue is not restricted to the institutions alone.
No.
Even an individual is liable to make
yes.
this TDS and pay it to the government.
Correct. An individual who is having a business income, anyway he is liable to deduct TDS.
Okay.
Okay. If an individual is not having an income, okay, business income per se, and he has taken some, he is liable to pay some income to a non-resident.
Okay.
At that time he will be liable to deduct TDS.
That is with respect to NRIs.
Correct.
What if I have to buy and sell a car or a property?
At that
then
time,
is there a responsibility on an individual buyer or seller to collect TDS?
Yes. So, say for example, if you are purchasing a car, okay, at that time the seller has to collect TCS if the car, the ex-showroom price of the car, if it is a new car or if it is a second-hand car, whatever the price what he is quoting, if it is exceeding 10 lakh rupees, then there is an obligation to collect 1% TCS.
Okay.
Okay. This is with respect to buying and selling of a car.
Okay.
Okay. Say, at the same time, if I am having or buying and selling of a property, okay, I am selling a property to our resident Indian. At that time, if the property consideration is exceeding 50 lakh rupees, in India there is an obligation on the person who is purchasing to deduct TDS of 1% of the full consideration and pay to the government, okay, on behalf of my account, because I am a seller.
Okay.
This is my income. When I sell it, this is my income.
Okay.
If it is an NRI, the rate of tax will change.
Okay.
Okay. At that time, even though the property price is less than 50 lakhs, the purchaser has to deduct TDS at a higher rate, depending on what, if it is a short-term asset what he is selling, then rate may be 30% plus taxes or surcharge and interest as applicable. If it is a long term, then 20% plus surcharge and interest as applicable.
So it's not very simple that way. It can change from case to case, whether it's an NRI or a resident, what type of transaction, whether it's an asset sale or a threshold levels, whether it's a salaried income. So it can get quite tedious.
Exactly, because the TDS is actually tedious.
Okay.
Okay, because it is a compliance burden on the other party.
Okay.
Okay. Now what happens is, say to a resident, there is no concept of additional collection or deduction of surcharge and cess. Whereas I am paying to a non-resident, additionally I have to collect surcharge and cess.
Okay. So it's better for the viewers to remember that TDS is a tedious issue. There are a lot of changes, threshold levels, who should do, how much should be collected and everything. One of the safest methods to handle a TDS issue is get involved with a professional chartered accountant, take their opinion and be guided by them. That's probably the safest way than to do it yourself. That's what it looks like to me. And one other question that I have in my mind is, now let's say that there is an income and the bank has to do a TDS, or let's take any transaction. Whether the TDS rate is same for everyone, a resident, NRI, high net worth individual, ordinary, is it same or it varies from person to person?
See, there is a difference between rate of TDS between resident and non-resident.
Okay.
Okay. A resident, there will be specific sections and they say this is the rate of TDS to be deducted. Whereas non-resident, there is only one section. Okay. Then there are a couple of other sections which is applicable to foreign companies, etc., which may not be so relevant at this point in time, and it is quite complex also. Okay. But when it comes to a non-resident individual, I am talking about, the rate of TDS may differ.
Okay.
Okay. It almost matches the amount of tax that NRI is supposed to pay to the government on that particular transaction. Say for example, on a long-term capital gain on sale of an immovable property, in Indian tax there is a 20% rate of tax.
Okay.
Okay. When a person is selling, a non-resident is selling his property, maybe to a resident or another non-resident, the other person who is purchasing, he is liable to deduct TDS. If that is a long-term capital asset, then 20% rate of tax plus surcharge and interest, surcharge and cess, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Surcharge and cess, why? Because surcharge is applicable only when income is exceeding 50 lakh rupees to a particular individual.
Huh.
If the property value is exceeding 50 lakh rupees, then 10% surcharge he has to add it to the 20% rate of tax plus 4% cess.
Okay.
If the property value is less, then it may be 20.8%.
Which means you are telling in case of NRIs, wherever TDS provisions apply, the TDS happens at the highest level.
It may or may not be.
Okay.
But under this fact and circumstances, it is at a higher level.
No, we have seen in case of, let's say, in case of mutual funds or these things, they are charged at the high rate. In some cases, it's very high. What is the reason for that? Why discriminatory treatment for NRIs?
Because Indian residents, if I identify you that you have earned so much income, say by deducting 10% or 1%, even 1% TDS, I can go back and make the collection of rest of the taxes from you. Because you are resident in India, I can identify you where you are and collect the taxes. Whereas, if I have not collected upfront from a non-resident, it becomes a little tedious work to the government, okay, to catch hold of you and collect the rest of the taxes if at all it is applicable on you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what they do is, I will collect additionally, you come and take your additional refund, whatever is applicable to you. That's what they say.
So they will go full steam on preventive taxation.
Correct.
First I will collect, okay, I will take your case.
Yeah.
If you are not liable, please file the tax return.
Yes.
I will
Claim
pay
refund.
it back. That's the whole issue. So it's just a question of compliance issue when it comes to the question of NRIs. Because you
Correct.
don't live in India,
Correct.
government may find it difficult to chase you and get your taxes back into their coffers. So they take this easy step of doing a highest TDS.
Exactly, sir.
Okay. Dear viewers, there are a lot of issues to understand when it comes to the question of TDS and related subject. To keep the length of this video short, I would like to do it in part 2. We have concluded part 1 here. The rest of the issues which you need to be known, we will discuss in part 2. Thank you, Mr. Sriram, for all the answers that you have given with respect to this TDS. Let's discuss rest of the things in part 2. Dear viewers, the video that we have done today, if it has given some insights into the complex issue of TDS, TCS and withholding tax, please like this video. Don't forget to share this video with your near and dear ones. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I will be back with you with part 2 of this series very soon.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.